I'm not a naturally extroverted guy. I'm not somebody who constantly needs to seek out other people and like make new connections. I still want to have friends and I keep ending up in situations where I kind of have to still figure it out meeting people. I've lived in different countries like in Germany, France, Spain, the US, Italy and the like, so I kind of had to find out a way of how I can still make friends without turning into this like social animal. And I think in this video I just want to share some things that I've learned and noticed. And so I think like especially when you're an adult and you move to a new place, it can be a little hard because you don't really have a built-in structure around you meeting people. Say, as opposed to you being an exchange student, for example, you just have the other people that are in your group and you're always going to naturally meet people, right? And now I find if you want to have friends outside of work, or even worse, if you're working remotely and you don't actually have to meet anybody, it can be really tricky to actually get the people together. And I think like the first easy solution that people might lean towards is going to these expat meetups. And I think it's a good idea to try it out and just like see how the vibe is, see if you enjoy it. I personally think it's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes it's been fun, sometimes I've met people, but it takes a lot of effort sometimes to just like run into the right people. I find you always end up having the same conversations. It's like, how long have you been here? Where were you before? What do you do for work? How is this place compared to this place? And all these things. So it's not really super exciting all the time. And it basically comes down to you don't really have that much in common besides being in a place and liking to drink, I guess. And that's not really a great foundation, I find, to make friends. You can be drinking buddies, obviously, but yeah, for friendships, it's hard to kind of like figure out who is the right person with this. Okay, and here's what I would actually suggest you do. Just do the same things that you would do at home, but do them in the new environment. And it doesn't really matter what it is that you do. It can be like playing music. Go to a jam session. Even if you don't play, you're going to meet other musicians that maybe you want to talk to and hang out with. If you're into dancing, go to the dance sessions that usually are everywhere, right? If you're into martial arts, go join a gym or a dojo. And you already have something in common with the people there. Like for one reason or another, the others also chose to do the same thing. It means you have something to talk about. There's like a common ground, something also about like your character maybe that aligns. Like I found that with certain martial arts groups, it's just, you just meet people that are similar to you because like sometimes you have the same ideals and yeah, the same things leading you to perform certain activities, right? And I think even if you're in a foreign country, the language barrier matters less than you think. Especially if you're not completely starting out, you usually kind of know what to do. And you might not need to speak that much with these activities. And I think that the people at these events or in these groups, like not everybody will want to talk to you. And I think that's completely fine. But then others actually will be curious and they'll be excited about having somebody from somewhere else join in. And you'll instantly like have a reason to connect with somebody, right? And I think if you're moving to a place in particular, it's just like this regular attendance is the key. Like say, for example, when I lived in Berlin, I did Kendo and I just went there, 3 to 4 times a week. That just means you see the same people repeatedly and then you have the possibility of forming a connection with them. Something that's much harder, of course, than if you only see somebody a few times. And I think in environments like that, for friendships just form themselves, but yeah, you have to go, you have to keep going. Okay, and going a little bit more into detail or adding on one more very important bit is the activities get you in the room, but you still have to initiate, you still have to say hi. There's no way around that. Talk to people. I found that most people actually are welcoming and curious. And I don't know, I'm thinking of again, like when I moved to Berlin, I went to this event, a startup safari, where it was just like a group of people going around to different companies in the city. And I just was at the first event and there was a random dude and I just decided to say hi. Turns out he was also new in the city and it just became a friend for years. And yeah, I mean, I've said hi to plenty of people who have disappeared as well. And I think that's fine. It's a numbers game pretty much. And not everybody that you'll talk to is going to be vibing with you, which is completely okay as well, in my opinion. And I think there also, it's completely fine to walk away from conversations that you don't enjoy. You don't have to hang out with people who bore you, even if you're new in a city. It's good to say yes to things, absolutely. And like my wife, for example, when she's in a new place, she just says yes to everything and then filters out afterwards. And I think I'm a little bit more selective, but, you know, join some events, but just also like be conscious about like what it is that you actually like doing. Yeah, and like also on that note, actually, just still be yourself. You don't have to try to become someone different. Of course, if you get into a new environment and it's liberating for you and you discover something new that you enjoy, then it's perfectly fine to pursue. But don't feel like you have to change. Okay, and a note on making friendships with locals. I think that's always very enriching. I think that's cool. It's also, you move to a place because there is something about the culture and the people that draws you there usually. But you can't demand that they're friends with you. I think culturally there's just going to be differences between Germany, for example, or Spain. You know, some cultures are just like more open than others in general when it comes to meeting people. And you're going to have to learn still what it actually means to talk to somebody, hang out with somebody, and then like be invited to their house and like being invited regularly. And sometimes it's not a cultural or it's not a personal thing. It's just that people that live in a place already in a city, they have an established friend group. They maybe just don't need more people or don't have time to actually meet more people. And it isn't necessarily a personal thing. And I think another thing to keep in mind as well is like if you meet somebody and you don't speak the native language, they might be fine speaking English one-on-one, but then it doesn't necessarily mean that if you get into a group setting that they want the whole group to switch, or they feel like it's just a different dynamic if you have to constantly switch between languages. And that also, there's just like certain groups of people, certain regions maybe where it's like more popular. And I think if you're not staying permanently, also something that you should just consider is like locals may not want to invest in another friendship that'll leave, like with a person that'll leave. Others are cool and they are cool with it and they enjoy it very much to just like know people around the world, and they're happy to meet you and like hang out and be friends for the time that you're there, and then like maybe you'll meet when traveling again. But I also think that it's perfectly understandable if somebody doesn't want to get too close to somebody who's just not going to be around a little bit down the road. Okay, and another note on maintaining these friendships, actually, because making the transition from an acquaintance or a drinking buddy or somebody you hang out with occasionally into a friendship is also a whole thing. Time gets scarcer, obviously. I think everybody like our age or past student life has noticed this. And this is, I think, again, where like these regular shared activities come in. Just if you decide to go to one place 3-4 times a week and do these things, you'll share time with people automatically, so you don't have to worry about meeting people outside of that time frame. Otherwise, I think it's just, yeah, follow up, be intentional, spend time with the people that you want to spend time with, and don't spend too much time on people that you don't want to spend time with. And if people are flaky, I think this is just a general rule for me. It's fine if somebody cancels once or twice, but then if they don't respond, I kind of take it as a sign that maybe they're just not that interested, and it's completely fine, and you move on. I really want to reiterate this point of just like try to be yourself in this new environment. You don't have to change completely. When I went to Spain, I know that like dancing and being extroverted is a lot more a cultural thing than it is back home for me in Germany. But I just wasn't very comfortable or happy whenever I tried to really like shape things. It's different if you feel that you're casting off a shell or like a mold maybe that's placed upon you back home. Then of course it's great. Enjoy the freedom, enjoy the liberty. But there are still like certain things, wherever you go, you're still you. That's another thing. You can't travel your worries away, and I don't think that you should. You should deal with your things, and then you can be much happier in another place. So embrace the gift, basically, if you want to reinvent yourself, or if you feel like you just have expectations placed on you back home that don't fit you anymore. Say you used to be shy and everybody still kind of wants to treat you as this quiet person. Of course, if you move to a new place, you meet new people, they won't know, and you can just show up however you want to show up. That being said, performing a version of yourself, it just won't get you in with the right people. You're not going to be happy. Maybe you can perform as somebody for a certain while, but you won't really have this genuine connection. You won't feel like this comfort and ease that you actually want to have with friends. So just kind of, be yourself. Friendship doesn't come from wanting friends. It comes from you being yourself, doing things that you enjoy, and being open and welcoming people into your life that want to be there with you. So I think that there's a certain element of vulnerability. You have to let people see you. But I'm pretty sure if you give people the chance, then you will find friends in new places.